when you are ready to bind off, that means to basically close off all of these stitches so that they don't go anywhere and so that you actually have a finished piece. Some other terminology calls it cast off. Yeah, I think that's it. Bind off or cast off. To do that, it's very similar to just working the knit stitch, but we're going to do a little lifting. But there's no heavy weights involved. To start, you're going to work the first 2 stitches, just the first 2, as normal. So we're going to work them both as knit stitches. The key that I want you to remember is to work them a little more loosely than what you've been doing, okay? Some people will change to larger needle sizes at this point to help keep these stitches a little looser. Now, when you have those first 2 stitches knit, what you're going to do is you're going to take the very first stitch that's in front of the second stitch, and you are going to lift it up, boop, 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 all the way over, keeping that second stitch on the needle, and drop the first stitch in between these 2 needles, just like this. So now we have 1 stitch left over here. At this point, we're going to be repeating the same action. We're going to knit the 3rd stitch. Now it looks like we have 2 again. We're going to work the same thing. We're going to pick up this stitch, and we're going to lift it up and over and drop it right off the needle between the 2 needles. So we're going to go in from left to right, let it go a little loose, hold tension here if you need to so that this stitch stays snug to the needle so it doesn't go anywhere. And you can see it's over that second stitch. We're going to come up, off the needle, and let it go completely. Okay, so I've bound off 2 stitches here. Now we're going to knit another one like normal. 2 stitches again on that right hand needle, come into the front, pick it up, not heavy lifting here, up and off the needle. Now we have bound off 3 stitches, and we're going to repeat that. Knit 1, pick up the first stitch, up and over and off, which is bind off 1, okay? Knit 1, bind off 1. 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 Now we're left with that last stitch. What do we do? Well, first of all, we know that we need a long enough tail to be able to sew in and weave, what's called weave in, that tail, okay? So I want to leave long enough, give or take 6, 8, whatever, inches there. I'm going to cut that. And all I do at this point, okay, some people, I'll show you what some people do first. Some people will pull that strand in, that tail, in through that last loop and bind off. I don't usually like the look of that. It kind of creates a little extra loop on the end that I don't like. So all I do is I take my needle in that loop and I pull it all the way through, just like this. Give it a nice little tug. Still a little bit of a loop there. There are some tricks that I will show you in a future video to help hide that, but for the most part, nobody cares about that loop, especially when we get into blocking. And that is how you knit. Your next step then is to weave in your tails.